Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the weekend where Celtic could be crowned champions of Scotland once more. This time tomorrow I could be sitting on this very chair doing this very podcast telling you guys that Celtic are champions of Scotland for the 4th consecutive season. 4 in a row is in the balance. We only need 1 point at Tannadice tomorrow and we've got a few things to talk about ahead of that game, so bear with me. It's a cheery weekend and I hope that continues through tomorrow. Yeah, don't mess this one up, Celtic, thanks. If you haven't already, please go down below, hit that subscribe button. If you think that Celtic are going to become champions tomorrow, hit that like button because we are so close to 50,000 subscribers. We are less than 1,000 subs away. Thank you all for getting over the 49k mark. Can we potentially do 50k before the end of the season? Maybe it's a bit much to ask, but we can only do it if you guys smash those buttons. Now, before we get into previewing the weekend, we've got a couple of wee bits to go through, some housekeeping at Celtic, including a statement from the manager this morning. That's right, we got a letter from Brendan Rodgers, which might give us a wee bit of an inkling into where his future lies. Of course, a lot of conversation whether or not he'll sign a new contract, if he'll remain with the club beyond his initial 3-year deal. So we're going to have a look over that, but this all comes off the back of yesterday's news about season ticket renewals. If you haven't, go and check out my video from yesterday. We looked over the news about season ticket renewals. There is a 5% hike on prices for season tickets next year, the cheapest being £608 for a full season ticket at the club. Don't worry, we discussed that in hell of a lot of depth. I'll keep my complaining to the side for now. But off the back of that, we got a letter this morning from Brendan Rodgers urging Celtic fans to be part of the journey moving forward, and he's potentially gave us a little bit to work with in trying to decipher where his intentions lie moving forward. So this was the lengthy letter from the manager that was posted on CelticFC.com this morning. A lot to read through, highlighting the success that we've been through this season and what he wants to do moving forward. So some of the keywords that were contained in this letter was saying that looking ahead to next season with key quality players returning to the club at the peak of their careers, we're building for the future. They are joining other experienced and highly talented players who know how to win, led by our fantastic captain Callum McGregor. The core of the squad is strong and we aim to make more exciting new additions to ensure we are the strongest we can be. We are in a solid position going into next season and everyone at the club is excited for the future. We look forward to having your continued support at this exciting time and hope that you will join us again at Paradise as together we embark on the next chapter in Celtic's illustrious history. Let's celebrate the wins, revel in the electric atmosphere and make incredible memories with loved ones and experience all that the 25-26 season has to offer. So Brendan Rodgers sharing his excitement moving into next season, teasing of course the fact that Kieran Tierney is returning to the club by saying players are returning at the peaks of their career, bigging up his captain and the rest of his core squad which exists, and making it abundantly clear that we aim to improve on this current squad to make the future as exciting as ever. But there was one line in there which caught my eye, which hopefully indicates towards a longer future with the boss. It was this line here: we are building for the future. Brendan Rodgers using the word building, talking about the future. I don't like to read into things too much. I believe truly that in things like this, club statements and marketing to get fans back on board with season books, that people will say generic things and they will say what they're told to say. But the fact that Brendan Rodgers has been very, very coherent about building and a future at Celtic, I really don't see a world in which he doesn't sign a new contract, or at least put another year on top of the contract he's currently on. As long as he is backed in this summer window, I don't think he's any rush to get out of here. He's in any rush to get out of here. Now, I don't want to say that, and then it comes back to bite me. We have literally been here before. In fact, last time he was here, he walked out midway through. But I don't know, just be reading through this letter and going over some of his points and press conferences of late, I have a good feeling about things. What we do know is Brendan Rodgers will be here next season, even though some have tried to speculate that he could leave or potentially take a job that's going to open up in England through the summer. This was his words at a press conference earlier in the month, saying there is no message to avoid any doubt. I will be here next season, 150%. So Brendan Rodgers looking like at least he's going to honour that 3-year contract at the very minimum. It's just a matter of whether or not he's going to sign on beyond that. But after reading his wee letter this morning, you have my hopes up, Brendan. Do not break my heart once again. Thanks very much. I know everyone will have different opinions and a lot of people will be speculating the manager's future, but I think one thing we can all agree on is that he will be here next year, and hopefully that the Celtic board back him to give him the best possible chance of succeeding next year. Let's aim for 5 in a row. Let's aim for another treble. Let's aim for European progression. Give him what he needs. And we have a very special future. I'm sure that's one thing that every Celtic fan will agree on. Now, March 16th was a day to forget for Celtic. We lost to Rangers in the Glasgow derby at Celtic Park. It's something that doesn't happen very often. Came as a bit of a shock that afternoon that Rangers managed to come to Celtic Park and beat us. But nonetheless, we move on. We're the ones aiming for a treble. They can enjoy the small successes of their season. But one thing that stood out that day was the treatment of Celtic supporters before the game, throughout the game, and even extending beyond the game in the near vicinity of Celtic Park. There was a situation with Celtic fans on London Road which saw them kettled in for hours, missing the full game, treated like animals, quite frankly, by Police Scotland, and it was unacceptable. It was quite frankly unacceptable. Abhorrent behaviour, an abuse of power, and it was something that Celtic fans and football fans alike have called the police out on time and time again over recent years for their treatment and behaviour towards football fans. Now, Celtic in the wake of that game did try to navigate some form of communication, saying they were looking into the matter. We heard a few words from supporters liaison officer JP Taylor about his inquiries to Police Scotland and what happened. Well, last night we got an official statement from the club that may have flew under the radar because it was only on the website. I don't think they tweeted it or anything like that. And it's one that has been contradicted by Celtic fans. Maybe an accusation of some porky pies being told. So here was Celtic's club statement saying, further to our recent communication, we have been engaging with Fairhurst, our independent safety and event consultants, to review concerns voiced to the club on events involving Celtic supporters, clubs, buses and groups which took place away from Celtic Park on March 16th, 2025. As we said before, the club has been engaging in discussions with Celtic supporters associations, clubs and groups and Police Scotland to understand these events and the circumstances in which they took place. To inform this process, we have asked Fairhurst to collate and review the feedback on supporter experiences received by the club. Fairhurst has already offered an opportunity for others who were present to provide feedback on their events. So that was the club's statement last night, which was quickly followed up by this from the North Curve Association. In relation to Celtic's statement regarding the policing operation on Sunday the 16th of March, we would like to clarify that there has been no quote-unquote discussions with Celtic supporters associations, clubs and groups, contrary to their claim, and despite multiple requests for the club to do so. Which is not a good look whatsoever. I don't know who here should be taking more responsibility, whether it's Celtic Football Club as an independent entity or Fairhurst, the security group. I don't know who should be taking more responsibility in this matter. Either way, not a good look for Celtic. Not a good look for our higher-ups, who are meant to care for our supporters, who are meant to look out for their supporters. It's quite frankly a bit minging. I would just call it how it is, a bit minging. That's how I feel about it, if what the North Curve Supporters Association is saying is true. And I would be inclined to believe them. Ultimately, the fans who were most impacted by this situation that happened on March 16th were members of the North Curve. They were members of the Green Brigade, members of the standing section. That's why it was so empty. But there was also supporters from all around the stadium that were included in this situation. If you happened to be at the Celtic Supporters Club on London Road, you were probably involved if you didn't leave early enough. So it wasn't just the North Curve, it wasn't just members of the Green Brigade, before people want to use that as a talking point or an advantage in any sort of debate. Because I know that the Green Brigade can be a divisive topic. Nonetheless, doesn't matter if you're part of the Green Brigade, the fucking Boys Brigade or the Fire Brigade. Doesn't matter. You should not be treated the way that Celtic fans were treated on London Road. And the fact that the North Curve have came out and said that there has been no discussions with Celtic supporters, associations, clubs, groups, that is shocking. Especially because the club have went out in a statement, an official club statement, and said that they have. The Celtic board do not help themselves. Time and time again, they are lambasted for neglecting their own supporters. They then try to deny that. They'll go to AGMs and try to shrug it off with jokes about Rangers. This is a serious issue. This is a very serious issue, and unless we're given proof of these conversations with affected supporters, then I can't sit here right now and say with full faith that I believe that they've gone about things in the right manner. So I'm very concerned. I would expect Celtic to come out and reply to this this claim from the North Curve, because right now I know who I stand with. I stand with the supporters of my football club. I stand with the people that I sit beside at Celtic Park week in, week out. I stand with the people who are lovers of the club, who fund the club. I don't stand with the guys in the suits in the boardroom who, quite frankly, sometimes don't look as though they give two shits. And we need proof that these conversations are ongoing and that they're trying to back up our own supporters. So finally, we need to talk about tomorrow, even though I've left it quite late on in this video. We head to Tannadice to potentially become champions of Scotland. 4 in a row is on the cards. We are in a great position heading into tomorrow. That point is all we need. I would expect Celtic to get the job done. If we didn't get the job done, it would be disappointing. I know some people might be happy because it means we can go to Ibrox and win the league at Ibrox, but I don't actually have a whole lot of faith that we'll win at Ibrox next week. So I want to get the job done. I want to go to Ibrox as champions and force them into the uncomfortable truth that Celtic are the biggest and best team in Scotland. It's a big day for us tomorrow, and let's not downplay the meaning of winning league titles. You know, some people might come out and call it tedious, some people might come out and call it boring, but for Celtic fans, this is a well-deserved reality that we're living in, and I have full faith that we'll get the job done tomorrow. Here is my team prediction for the game. I would sit here and talk about how Celtic should approach the game or whatnot, but it's match day 34. We're in the split now. We've played Dundee United 3 times already. God almighty, how many more times do you need me to tell you what the setup is? And we have work to do, because our last trip to Tannadice, we were pretty poor that day, remember? So this is the team that I think can get the job done. I have a feeling this is what Rodgers will go with. The back four, I think, will remain the same from Hampden. I know a lot of people will be asking, what about Trusty? Will he come back in? I think he'll stick with Scales. I think he'll definitely stick with Taylor as well. I feel like Jeffrey Schlupp's Celtic career might be coming to an end over these next few games. It's a very short Celtic career. But I think he might have one more start and maybe that midweek game before Trophy Day. But I think Taylor will start this weekend. I think that'll be the back four. As for in goals, keep in mind, I'm recording this before Brendan Rodgers' press conference this afternoon. We don't know how far Kasper Schmeichel is away from coming back. I still think it'll be Sinsalo tomorrow either way, so I'm sticking with him in goals. Midfield three, it has to be unchanged. They're playing far too well these last few games. Hatate is having a great run at the minute. He's looked unbelievable. Quite frankly, you could say he's been the best player on the team the last few weeks. I think you can make that case. He's been sensational. His goal contributions, his general play, he's been brilliant. Engels has looked great as well. McGregor has looked brilliant. Maybe the best he's looked from the opening weeks of the season. I would say you can't change that midfield three. And then for the front three, I've gone for the Jota, Maeda and Kuhn. Sorry, I've not. I've went for the Jota, Ida and Maeda front three. And that's just because I think Ida played really well last week. I think he's played really well a couple of weeks in a row now. Don't stunt his momentum. Give him the confidence that he needs. Let him try to bag another goal or two. I would keep him in the team. Obviously, I made a video through the week displaying my love for Adam Ida to all. So I've got him in there. I just think it'd be smart and wise to keep him in. And Maeda's obviously first name in the team sheet, don't need to talk about that. But I've gone with Jota just because Came on and got that goal of Hampden last week. He's been bombed out in the last couple of games to the bench. I think he needs that full pre-season, but give him a start. I think it could be Kuhn or Jota in this role. I think it could be Forrest as well. I think this is probably the most difficult position to predict in the team for this week's game. But I'm going to go Jota. That's my starting 11. Listen, you can make as many changes as you like to that. I think we'll win tomorrow, and I think we'll be celebrating 4 in a row tomorrow afternoon. Right, there you go. That's us for today. Hopefully this time tomorrow I'm sitting here doing a match reaction with a smile on my face and Celtic with another title in the trophy cabinet. We'll just need to wait and see. If you've enjoyed, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.